Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So the market started off on a little firmer footing. We pushed through last week's pivot, and then we just ran out of gas. Not that surprising, considering that this is what's been going on for 2015. We're not having massive follow-through. So after a 1.5 to 2.5% move in a lot of the sectors that we trade, makes sense that we pause here in front of highs because, again, we don't even have any earnings out yet. Tomorrow we'll see the banks and we'll see what's going on. So let's just get into some of the sectors. You look here at the overall, at the SPX. Last week it felt as if we were going to be breaking below this 2050-ish area. Remember last Monday we opened here, had that reversal, held 2070. So right here, not being able to push through the prior high isn't the end of the world, and some people were waiting for like an RDR, and this is a red dog reversal here, guys. So if you got long here and you added on Thursday and had some follow through Friday, that's 3 days. You maybe even had a little bit of a push today as it went above 2102, but once it peaked at 2107, came back below it, that could have been your stop. And this also might be an area where some people, got short versus the high, and if they did so, they made a good day trade, and then the good book says take a third home if that's what you did. So, this move could still be valid if it comes down to here and holds in this area. So, with that being said, if we come and touch this and put some kind of, bottom tail type into this, I think that would be healthy considering where we came from. It almost could look like this. Remember when we pushed above this area? We pushed above 2063, a little bit of a red dog reversal. Then you had second day follow through, held higher, created that, then you had boom, and then we went and made new highs. So with that being said, tomorrow wouldn't be so bad if we were down 5, 6, 7 handles, and then we reversed here, and then perhaps they treat some of the bank names fine and Intel's okay or whatever, and then we get some kind of more traction. So for right now, not end of the world, but if you got caught today and you're still maybe uncomfortably too long, you have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. I do think this would be a pretty nice area to watch. We were looking at the Russell. The Russell, pretty nasty topping tail. Not nasty, that's a bad word. It did push above this 125.79. It actually nudged above 126.31. The high here today was 8 cents higher and kind of failed. Okay, every bear is claiming victory like today failed and every bull has been wrong. But look at the trend that we've had here since this red dog reversal down when we took back the 200-day. Lots of different trades. This was also another nice buy the dip into the 21-day. So for it to fail right here or not have enough strength versus fail makes some sense. Again, we did not have earnings yet. We have not seen the big boys. So why would it be breaking out the highs here? It would have been nice if it did, but it didn't. So we'll see what happens next. We'll see if the 8-day holds. The 8 days 125.10. The 21-day that's been pretty good support is a bit lower. So if you reduce today, that's fine. I tried to play the mid caps and I got stopped out also. Not the end of the world as well, just not enough power to give you a breakout type trade. And now if you're watching trends, it's still well above this one. And then if you're a little bit tighter, here's your ascending channel. So if you got short thinking that this is a failure, okay, if we open up tomorrow, you'll have to figure out if we could take this out. So at this point, just not enough power. What did the Qs do? Qs, just resistance is resistance, right? And here you go. Red dog reversal around this area. If you were looking for a short saying, look where we just came from, this is where we held. This was a nice long as we broke above it. Friday had some follow through. Today you were looking for some type of resistance. Well, there you had it calculated. So if some of you are, short overnight, okay, be short a third. If you made good money shorting here with the stop at the high of the day, that's your red dog reversal. And now we'll see, where it could hold. Does it pull back and try and test the 8-day, which is below it? Could happen. And if it holds higher, next time it tries, maybe it'll have a little bit more success. Apple has been doing what Apple has been doing and, not finding much traction. It definitely could have today, and thank goodness I didn't chase it because I didn't have it overnight. We talked about can it hold above 128.12. It traded above there for maybe 30 seconds, hit as high as 128.57 and then pulled in. So maybe we'll see if tomorrow there's a, just a buy into this support. It seems like, after the failure day, gets support and then tries again. And I still think fundamentally this is best in breed as far as stocks. And as long as it stays above the 50-day, technically it's fine. Netflix got upgraded today. What a monster move. Somewhat found resistance, and why would it not, considering it still has to post earnings on Wednesday after a massive move from this day one last week. Shorts probably just got caught real short, and now we'll see what happens next. I would not be long or short this thing right here. Some people might be short versus the highs, and that high of today is 485. They definitely pushed the envelope. Then you have a gap here and a gap here, and sometimes that's dangerous. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Where I made my money today was Facebook. I got kind of, I was thinking about how tight it's been getting and how it has leadership status, and that at some point perhaps money could rotate to it. On my morning note, I wrote 82.60. I actually bought a little bit when it was negative this morning, and it not only went through 82.60, it went as high as almost 83.94 and closed okay with the market selling off. So I am still long this overnight. We'll see what happens. Maybe this leads into some better action. It was trying to be strong, but the market pulled in hard. And again, this is above the moving averages, and this is one of your go-to status stocks. Twitter is a little wishy-washy in here, but it's still okay. I think Twitter likes to wear as many people out as possible. If you remember, here's your gap. This is when it woke up, had your trade, messed with everybody. Then on this day, did that red dog reversal, and then got a little better, and then flagged and broke above it. And then, they came out and said they're not getting bought by Google, but I don't think anyone really thought they were. And now maybe tomorrow we'll see what happens here if we get some kind of little washout like this day, and then perhaps turns higher. So still no real traction, and until it gets above, just say now, this 5250 with authority, it's just a small little try or an avoid. And if this happens to break this trend and closes below it, chances are it might even correct a little bit more, and that would definitely take some momentum out of the name. So we'll see. Priceline gave us a small trade today. I actually even traded it myself, and I don't like trading these expensive, thick names, but pushed above, and we made a little bit of money, and then I didn't take it overnight. Still looks fair. The banks, which have earnings tomorrow, JP Morgan, we'll see what happens if, then the street's not expecting much. It did hold in pretty well. Excuse me, a little sneezy. We'll see what happens here. If it happens to have a decent report with their investment banking division and, perhaps, or their money management division, maybe it breaks above this, and that would help the broader market. We shall see. Wells Fargo also has earnings tomorrow. Typically, Wells Fargo seems to always be by the highs on earnings, and now it's not. So it's not expecting, I guess, it's not priced for perfection. So we'll see if they do come out with a good report, whether it could take out these highs. Fundamentally, I guess this one is closest to the highs of multiple years. You look at the difference between this. You go to the monthly chart on Wells Fargo. It's near highs, ready to go again. You look at the monthly chart on something like JP Morgan. Actually very similar. What does the monthly chart of Citibank look like? Reverse for the split, not quite the same quality. Bank of America monthly chart probably also a little bit better. But again, so JP Morgan and Wells Fargo being the class of the group, we'll see if it helps and could get above this. So I guess it's got to be pretty rock solid for that to happen. So it's set up here. We'll see what happens. What else were people looking at today? Oh, Shaq, look at this bad boy. I had it on my morning note. It's definitely a high valuation stock. It's a new issue, so I guess it's all about supply and demand. It held this uptrend this entire time, broke above 51 and closed above the IPO price. So you would think if this is any good, it's going to hold and not come back and close below 52.49. Not sure why it was so strong. Sperling was all over it. We'll see if it gets some follow-through, as there's probably a lot of people caught short it, because I think it comes out to about 35 million per Shaq. So at this point, again, it's about the 8 and 21 day. It's not about the valuation, so we'll see. Tesla, small little red dog reversal right here. It's had a big move, right? So with that being said, you got to be a bit careful. Here was your gap up, a little bit of follow through, small RDR around this pivot, 8 days below, so it is extended. So we'll see what happens there. It's still well above the descending channel, but again, you can't just go after these things blindly. They do need to take their time, considering there's not a lot of momentum. So with that being said, you have a some room back down to here if it wants to come back down, and then we'll see what happens next. Probably I need to wait for earnings for this thing to take out the 200-day if it's going to do that. What did the Yelp do today? Not much, still broken. This was your, look at this outside day here that led to a big decline. Number one signal, that's when it broke. It's been below the 8 and 21 days since. Now it's going sideways. I don't know what it's going to take. That's why I say, you know what, with this one, go out like a month or 2 months and just buy some in-the-money calls so you don't have to trade this noise, because that's what this has been. It's been noise. The bios, little topping tail into a new resistance area. Some people said, what would you rather be overnight, bio to butt? I would say bio to butt. I think it's better to be short if you do go short this versus long just for a trade. The way to spot to be long, it was right here when it held a 50-day, or maybe when it cleared this pivot up into here. It's extended from the 8 and 21-day. Lower high, maybe it pulls in a little bit. So this was your bounce. It's up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So at least sell some if you bought it here or bought it there. You trim into resistance. I think I listed somewhere between 559 and 561. Yeah, 361. Yeah, that was the resistance area. There you go. And it paused, and we'll see what kind of pause. So, today the market didn't have enough power to break above resistance, and that made sense, right? We don't have earnings yet. We've been stuck in the mud in this range for 2015. We had a decent move last week with a little follow through this morning, so there were some signals to keep your eyes open for some type of red dog reversals with the indices, and that's what happened. A little, lower than midday. If you reduced your positions when we pushed through the prior high and came back below, great. If you got short and made some money today, even better. And if you're holding some for a third follow through tomorrow, we'll see what happens. We'll see how we digest based on this day. Doesn't mean it's game over, but it means, take a step back and figure out what type of market we have here, how shallow of a pullback do we have, or do we fall back into the range? And that's probably going to depend a lot on how the market treats earnings that start in earnest tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo in the morning, Intel at night. You have also, Netflix on Wednesday, and then we still have all the big boys, coming up. So stay tuned and just keep moving those feet, because there is action. Just don't overdo it. Have a good night.